This marks the 5th time this year that I speak at a funeral that should not be. The 5th time. And that is 5 times too many. I'm getting tired of coming to such funerals. Tired of the untimely farewells. Tired of groping for non-existent words to give solace when there is no solace. There's no substitute for life. A smile, a look of love. Weep, Jane. Yes, weep, Betty, Shirley, and Anne. Weep for the youth and the goodness that was so suddenly and savagely removed. I am tired of looking down into coffins cradling maimed bodies that once were men. Yes, I'm tired. Perhaps too tired. But perhaps there's more hope than even I think. For Don Tyndale, he was no hot-eyed rebel. He was a young white Southerner, reluctant as any to get involved. And he didn't have to. He didn't have to follow and see what he saw. He didn't have to risk his life to tell it. But he wanted the world to know. And whether or not his killers are ever caught, tried, and punished, the world does know. It knows the who, the what, and the how of this monstrous deed, which this town can never eradicate or expiate. And this is his victory. Even though he lies dead, and they live. And I salute him for it. And I say, damn them. Damn them to hell for what they have done. I don't ever again want to come to another of these funerals. Enough! Isn't it time we had enough? Now check this out. My daddy was dead for 10 years before he finally died from a serious lack of money. In Georgia, sharecropper with 9 crummies and a 2-room shack. Now daddy, he didn't drink his miseries away because he couldn't afford to drink. He used to come home every evening, wash up, eat some cornmeal mush, or grits with fatback bacon, collards and okra with fatback, or fatback with turnips and cornbread. That's why I don't eat no pork. Then after he'd eat and maybe grunt at his family, he would take his raggedy little harmonica and he'd go sit under a robe down the tree from the shack, and he'd play the meanest sounding blues that I ever heard till it was time for him to go to bed. He would do this every day, all year, year in, year out, good weather and bad. He hardly ever spoke a word. He eventually started wasting away from the inside. And I guess even if we could have afforded to call a doctor, it wouldn't do any good. Money, honey. When he died, I got on that same road that he used to dream about. And I ain't never looked back to Georgia or Providence since. Now, I didn't make the laws of this land, but that law says that money keeps you alive, well, and looking good. And that is the secret of how I stay so pretty. Yeah, you damn right I am hostile. In fact, I suppose you could say that I'm one of the most hostile persons in the universe. I am hostile. Number one, because my wife of 15 years, she gets mixed up with some ditzy broad who convinces her that sex is a four-letter word. And now you show me a man, any man, who gets cut off for 30 days, and I will show you a very frustrated, horny, and hostile individual. Starts to get turned on by little girls in training bras. And I'm also hostile that all of a sudden my best friend, my best sports buddy, a man who I let use my very expensive fishing equipment to, and I did not complain when this friend busted my reel. He turns on me like a mad dog, all over some oversexed gypsy. So boy, am I hostile. And I'm also mildly upset that, again, my wife has dumped me for some jerk who got his electronic degree off of the back of a Matchbox cover. And I'm not overly happy that this creep, he's hanging around in my house, yes, trying to get his plug into my socket. So yeah, you're damn right, I'm hostile. I'm a hostile son of a bitch. For the benefit of those of you who do not know me, permit me to introduce myself. I am King Heroin, known to all as a destroyer of men. From where I first came, nobody knows. I came from a land where the poppy grows. I am a world power, and all know it is true. Use me once, and you will know it too. My little white grains are nothing but waste. I'm soft and I'm deadly, and I'm bitter to taste. All nations have gathered to plot my destruction, for I'm a breeder of crime and corruption. I came to this country without a passport, and ever since then I've been hunted and sought. For I capture men's will, and I destroy their minds, and cause them to commit all sorts of crimes. With cellophane bags I have found my way to great men in office and children at play, to the richest estates, to the poorest of slums, to the highest exalted, the Bowery bums. I can make a mere schoolboy forget his books, make a world-famous beauty neglect her looks. I can make a good husband forsake his family and his wife, and send a greedy man to prison for the rest of his life. I can make a man forsake his country and his flag, and make a girl sell her virtue for a $20 bag. For some, I make a profit in fives, tens, make a man in trouble tell on his friends. Would you like to hear more of the things I can do? The women I've defied, the men I've slew? In China, I stopped an army. I financed Iran. I'm honored in Turkey and I'm respected in Japan. To you Irish, Italian I can mix. I can make the most firm of you forget your sex. Oh yes, some have run a drug program, and the police have kept them under my wing. How dare they defy me, I who am king? So now they must suffer. It's all part of my game. They'll lie in discomfort and they'll squirm with pain. They'll cough up their guts in a hacking cough. 6 days of this madness, and they might throw me off. Oh, they'll curse my name, and they will defy me in speech. But some would pick me up again if I were in reach. They heard my warning, but they didn't take heed. Now they must put their foot in the stirrup and mount my steed. Yeah, I'll get tight on the saddle and ride me well, for I, King Heroin, am going to bring them all straight down to hell. Are you? Are you? Are you my next victim? Suckers! My brother died in France, but I came back. We were just two colored boys, brown, black, who joined up to fight for the USA when the nation called us that mighty day. We were sent to training camp and then overseas, and me and my brother was happy as you please, thinking we were fighting for democracy's true reign and that our dark blood would wash away the stain of prejudice and hate and the false color line and give us the rights that were yours and mine. They told us America would know no black or white, so we marched to the front happy to fight. Last night in a dream, my brother, he came to me from out of his grave across the sea, back across from the acres and crosses of France, and he said to me, "Brother, you got your chance, and I hope you're making well and you're doing fine, because when I was living, I didn't have mine. Black boys couldn't work anywhere like they can today, could hardly find a job that offered decent pay. The unions barred us, the factories too, but now I know we got plenty to do. We couldn't eat in restaurants. We had Jim Crow cars, didn't have any schools, and there were all sorts of bars to a colored boy trying to rise in wealth and station. But I know well now that's not our situation. The world's been made safe for democracy, and no longer do we have to live the dark misery of being held back and having no chance since the colored soldiers came home from France. Didn't the government tell us things was going to be fine when we finished fighting over there and dying? And hey, now I know we just like any other. But hey, that's what I died for, isn't it, brother?" And I saw him there standing straight and tall in his soldier's uniform and all, and his dark face smiled at me in the night. But somehow that dream was cruel and bitter and somehow not right. It was awful facing that boy who went over there to die. For what could I answer him except it was a lie? It was a lie, every word they said. And it's better 1,000 times over that you over in France did. For here in the States, there's no vote and no right, and I am still just a nigger in America tonight. Then I awoke. The dream had ended. But broken was that soldier's dream, too bad to be mended. And I guess it's a good thing all those boys lying dead over there. They can't see, they don't know, and they won't ever care. This was the night before Christmas, and old Santa was pissed. He cussed out the elves and tossed down the lists. Ungrateful little brats, miserable little jerks. I have a good mind to scrap the whole works. I busted my butt for damn near a year. Instead of thanks Santa, what do I hear? The old lady bitches because I work late at night. The reindeer want more money and they all fight. Rudolph gets drunk, Goose is the maids. Donna's pregnant, and Vixen's got AIDS. And just when I thought that things were going to get better, these buttholes from the IRS sent me a letter. It seems I owe money. And if that ain't funny, who the hell sent Santa Claus any money? And the kids these days, they all are the pits. They want the impossible, those mean little pricks. I spent a whole year making wagons, sleds, assembling dolls, their arms, heads, legs. I make tons of yo-yos with not one request for them. They want computers, robots, as if I'm IBM. Flying through the air, dodging the trees, falling down chimneys and scraping my knees. I'm quitting this job. There's just no more enjoyment. I'm gonna sit on my fat butt and I'm gonna collect unemployment. So there's no Christmas this year, and now you know the reason. Besides, I have found me a blonde, and I am going south for the season. So happy freaking holiday. Ho, ho, ho. Now, for some reason or other, folks are just getting informed of the fact that there were Negro cowboys. I mean, if they bothered to look, they discovered that in actuality, 15% American cowboys were black men. Matter of fact, one of the baddest cowboys in the West was a big black cowboy named Black Sam. Now, here was a critter so bad that even Webster had to look at him twice before he put the word bad in the dictionary. Now, there was this western town, quiet and peaceful one Sunday morning. So quiet and peaceful that you could hear the coffee brewing, the bacon sizzling, and every house, the clutter in every house as people they go to the church meeting clothes on. And all of a sudden, up on the hill of this town rode up this big black cowboy. He was riding a bear. And he proceeded to ride this bear on down to this town and caused such a stir that the whole town got quieter. Bacon stopped sizzling, coffee stopped brewing, and every house got quiet as a mouse because they knew that this was Big Black Sam. Anyway, this cowboy proceeded to ride his bear on up in front of the town saloon, told this bear to, whoa, climbed off the bear, choked it, flung it across the street, and proceeded to walk on to the saloon. And he got stuck in the door, he was so big. And he was 6 feet 9 inches tall and 395 pounds. He was a big man. But he proceeded to walk on through the door, the saloon, bringing half the wall and half the ceiling down in the process. Walked on up to the bar and ordered a bottle of red-eye. Broke the top of the bottle, poured the liquors down, and the sheriff, thinking he better get on the good side of Black Sam, he walks up to this cowboy and, how you doing, partner? How'd you like another bottle of red-eye on me? Cowboy looks down at the sheriff, wipes his mouth again, and says, thanks, but no thanks, Sheriff. You see, I got to get out of town before Black Sam gets here. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say, Brutus's love for Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. It's not that I love Caesar less, but that I love Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living and die as slaves, or that Caesar were dead to live as freemen? If Caesar loved me, I weep. If he was valiant, I cherish it. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. There were tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Did you see that item recently about that new mind-controlling drug that they tried successfully on fish? What it does, it erases their memories. Anyway, one of the goldfish that they tried this drug on was my pet, Herman. And boy, I'm telling you, his memory is now shot. He can't remember a thing. Now you might ask, what does a goldfish have to remember? And I ask you in turn, have you ever peeked into their bowls when they didn't know it? I'll leave the rest up to you. But anyway, getting back to Herman, I've tried everything to restore his memory. I leaned into his tank and I shouted at him, "Look, Herman, don't you remember Marie? That cute swimmer with them shapely fintails?" Nothing. Or, "Herman, watch out, here comes Felix. Felix the cat." Herman just sits there and looks away. I even took him to visit his crippled mother. She's got water on the knee, hoping that would bring back his memory, but no luck. I was going to do a frontal lobotomy on him with a salad fork, Ah, he wouldn't hold still for that. He's got a strong mind. Small but strong. He's a determined little fish who knows where he's going. He doesn't know where he's been, of course, but he's a real battler. I mean, right now, I got him reading his diary, going through a scrapbook. I mean, something's got to work. If not, well, I guess we just got to pack him off to the old fish home. Either that or a burial at sea with full military honors. Well, thank you, all you fish lovers of America. Beware, my friend. My name is Cocaine. Coke for short of the rock. I came to this country without a passport, and ever since then, I've been hunted and sought. I am more valuable than diamonds, and more treasures than gold. Use me just once, and you too will be sold. I could make a schoolboy forget his books, beauty queen neglect her looks. I could take a renowned speaker and make him a boy, take your mama and make her a whore. I could make a school teacher forget how to teach, a preacher and not want to preach. All kinds of people have fallen under my wing. Well, just look around you and you can see the results of my sting. You have daughters turning against their mothers, sisters robbing their brothers. I have husbands pimping their spouses. I'm the king of crime and the prince of destruction. I cause the organs of your body to malfunction. I cause your babies to be born hooked. I turn the most honest of men into crooks. I'll make you rob, steal, kill. With you under my power, you'll have no will. I've destroyed actors, politicians, sports heroes. I've decreased bank accounts from millions to zeros. I'm a bad habit, too tough for the man. I've caused the law to invest in the battering ram. Well, now, you know. What will you? Remember, my friend, it's all up to you. But if you decide to jump on my saddle, you better ride me well. For on the white horse of cocaine, I'll bring you straight down to hell. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I am going to marry her. Because I'm happy for once in my life. And I am not going to give that up. Nobody is going to make me give it up. All my life, people have been taking things from me. Starting as a boy at school and later with older people, black and white. It seemed every time I would get my hands on something that I really wanted, it was just taken right out of them, as if I had no right to it. I can't explain it exactly, but even my parents chipped in. I mean, when I was a kid and I'd earn money, they'd take it from me every Saturday night, whether they needed it or not. And that pattern, it just seemed to keep repeating itself throughout my life, People always telling me where I can go, where I can't, what I can have and what I cannot. And now her. But nobody is going to take her away from me. Nobody. I went down to the river and I sat down on the bank. I tried to think, but I couldn't, so I jumped in and I sank. I came up once and I hollered. I came up twice and I cried. If that water hadn't been so cold in there, I might have sank and died. But that water was cold. That water was cold. I took the elevator 16 floors above the ground. I thought about my baby and I thought I would jump down. I stood there and I hollered. I stood there and I cried. If it hadn't been so high up there, I might have jumped down and died. But it was high up there. It was high. So now that I'm still here living, I guess I will live on. I could have died for love, but for living I was born. So though you may hear me holler and you may hear me cry, I'll be dog sweet, baby, if you gonna see me die. Because life is fine. Fine as wine. Life is fine.